Today, the topic will be life after death. The life after death, which in India we call Devachan or Devasthan. What happens to the soul after death till its next reincarnation? This was originally discovered and intuited by the ancient sages of India thousands of years ago. And you can find the details of the life after death in the Brahminical rituals of the Shraddha. It is called Shraddha. Another place you can find the original of this is in a book called the Garud Puran. जीवात्मा के क्या गतिविधियां होती हैं, what are the turns and twists and an evolutionary journey in the life after death till the soul is reborn again. Thousands of years later, the Tibetans got to know this knowledge from India, and they came up with a book, the Book of the Dead, which also deals with the Bardo Thodol. The Bardo Thodol means the journey of the soul after death till next reincarnation. Now I will speak two portions of this. First I will tell you the normal journey. The original knowledge is not in the Bardo Thodol of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, but it is in the Shraddhas of the ancient Brahman. The book of the Garud Puran has it. And later there are other detailed books which I will mention to you and refer later on in some future lecture. They are of an advanced nature. Now the soul is an immortal entity which resides in the body of every human being. The soul, it is called the Jiva, means life. It is called the Furohar, mean the soul in various languages. The Jivatma, the Furohar, the Ruh. You see? Now, Ruh means light also. Gu here Ruha. So the Guru is the one who has the gravity to reveal the hidden light and knowledge of the soul, the Gu here, the secret knowledge of the soul, and bringing it to light is the work of the Guru. He who from the darkness takes the soul to light is the Guru. Guhya Ruha. So he takes you to know your Ruh. And this is the original meaning of Ruhani Ilm. The Guru gives you the Ruhani Ilm, for he takes you away from the ignorance of matter into the light of the soul, into the light of the Ruh, into the light of God, of Khuda, of Ishwar. This is the work of the Guru. And Gurutva means gravity. His words have so much gravity that they can even transform matter into light, into spirit. Therefore, it is very, very important not only to hear the words of the Guru, but to follow his practices as well and transform yourself into light and love and divinity. Now the soul residing in the body has a lifespan. This lifespan differs from individual to individual as per his individual karma. You see? He lives his life, he does good deeds, neutral deeds, bad deeds. All this is collected in his Akashic records or in his collective subconscious. It goes towards the building up of his Sanchit karma. But in his present life, he is working out his present karma in this life. So the normal soul lives his life. Then he comes to old age, and after some time the body gets old, like your garments get old and torn, and they have to be discarded. So in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita it says, just as garments get old and have to be discarded, so also the body is discarded and the soul goes to the life after death to reincarnate in another body. The body is mortal and dies, but the soul is immortal. And in the Bhagavad Gita it is mentioned, the soul is immortal. For weapons cannot pierce it, the water cannot wet it, the breeze cannot dry it, and fire cannot burn it. In the Gita it is said, Nayanam chandati shastrani, nayanam dehati pavaka, na kledayanti apa, na shoshayati maruta. Therefore the soul is immortal. So what happens to the soul? Even though the soul is immortal at the time of death, it is covered with the karma of the emotions and the mind. It is covered with certain good karmas, certain intuitional activities and karma, then certain mental activities it is coated with. Then the outer coat is the emotional activities, and then there are certain gross passional activities which cover the indwelling soul. So the soul leaves the outermost coat, which is the physical casement or the physical garment, but its subtle emotional and mental garments it keeps, as it is cremated in the Indian system. The body is burnt, the physical body, the garment which is not the soul, the apparent self is burnt, and the true self, the soul, along with its emotions and its mental body, passes out of the body. Now it goes into the afterlife, after death state of life. In India there is no after death, because for the soul there is no death, so how can there be after death? But the Tibetans have said, and the normal people call it death, but only the physical body dies. After that it works out its karma in the life after the death of the physical body. Then the emotional body dies, then the mental body is clear and dissolves, and then the soul remains in its pristine purity to enjoy itself with God. And then again it reincarnates, taking these bodies again, another emotional body as per its sanchit karma, another mental body as per its sanchit, intuitional body, then a mental body, then an etheric body, and then a physical body. It incarnates in the womb of a mother to whom it is most suitable for his karma. That parents who give that soul the maximum facilities for his spiritual evolution. So the life after death is such for the soul that it goes coated with the intuitional, mental and emotional bodies, discarding its physical body. Then it starts its work. From the outside in, it is worked on. It goes to a state called the Pretlok. After the body is burnt or it's buried, for 72 hours it is in the Pretlok. The Pret is known as the dead body, the people of Mrityulok, where people die, the body of mortality. It's hovering as a spook, as a spirit, ghost. It's called a Pret. It's like a Pret, and its spirit is hovering in that Pretlok, where dead bodies are, ghouls are, shells of the dead spirits. Now this is a very gross state. For 72 hours it takes the emotional and mental and intuitional body to disengage itself from the emotional, from the physical and ethereal body. After 72 hours, people perform another ceremony. The third day they come and pick up the ashes. The soul enters a new stage after it has worked out its grossest karmas, which are closest to the physical body. So at that day, when they think the passing of the spirit, you see people come in India with many fruits, or what that soul liked the best. he liked, say, say ice cream, or like some sweets, or there was something. So they give all that he had liked in his life, they lay before him. So that spirit which is there, it satisfies its last desires to move on from Pretlok to the next, called the Pishachalok. Now the Pishachalok, it stays from 10 to 13 days. The 10th day is very important. So for 10 days it stays in the subtle body of the ghost. I am not getting the exact equivalent in the English language. Pretlok, then it goes to Pishachalok, then it goes to Pitralok, and then it goes to Devlok. Then from Devlok it descends again to Pitralok. Okay? It becomes grosser again. It goes to from Devlok to Pitralok to Pishachalok. It passes through that, and then it comes into a pret, a living, a fetus, sort of astral fetus, etheric body which is living in Pretlok. It comes into the, descends to the Pretlok, then to the house of mortals, the Mrityulok, and then it is conceived by the parents. After conceiving its whole after death life. So when it goes to this second stage of the Pishacha, where it is you can say a spirit or a ghost, it wanders in that region and works out that subtle karma, of all its passions and emotions, in that lok, where it meets its like people, or there is war and hatred. Those things are exchanged, those things are dissolved, and there are yogis who guide people through Pishachalok into Pitralok. I myself had to do it in certain occasions, because the son has to attend the Shraddha on the 10th day of his father, where the son should be capable, if he is a yogi, he will guide the soul of his father through the maze into Pitralok, into the ancestral, the lunar ancestors. So he's not reached the ancestral lok, he's reached the Pishachalok, which is the lok of spirits and ghosts. In that they satisfy all their desires. So now on the 10th day, a very important function is done for the soul. You see, these are various barriers which the soul has to break. Now he is in a Pishachik shell, he is in this body. That body has to break through, but it does not break through till its desires of its passional and emotional and carnal desires are fulfilled in that level of consciousness, in that level of mind. This is the life after death. So what the parents or the children do of this, the parent who has died or the person who has died, they bring all fruits and foods which they like. Again, he may like chicken curry, or his favorite dish may be fried fish, fish and chips. So whatever they are, they have to bring those to satisfy the desire. Okay, so then this Pishacha, the soul covered by the Pishachik shell, covered by the passional and emotional shell, the grosser emotional and passional shell, is satisfied. But before this, let me mention, in India they have a process of Shraddha, and on the 10th day a Shraddha is done for the Pitras, as well as this particular soul who is about to join from Pretlok to Pishachalok to Pitralok. Now the Pitra are our lunar ancestors, all our forefathers who have gone before us, either normally or in robes of light if they were enlightened. A prayer is done and pindas are made. Pinda means a circular formed like a risotto. It's a round piece of rice. Those rice is kept, the pind. The Shraddha is done on the pind made of rice. So these functions of the Brahmins are to release the soul from its limited passional and emotional consciousness to get it into a state of mental consciousness. So when that puja is done, the shell breaks. Now there is a very peculiar thing, that the life after death, when the soul is in this state of the Pishacha, the ghost, the spirit, they put this prayer, the puja, outside. They put it outside the burning ghats. There are many crows there. A crow is supposed to be an indicator of a lot of spiritual knowledge, because they say in our ancient scriptures there was also the immortal crow called Kak Bushund. Kak Bushund. He's written that he was supposed to be a great spiritual figure, and he could take form of man also, and he recited one of the best prayers in praise of Lord Shiva. He's supposed to live through the ages and the cycles, an immortal being. Now, the crow is there. So they put this rice with the food and this pinned outside, and all the people who are attending the funeral ceremony, the 10th day after the funeral, they attend this, because by now the soul is mature enough and has satisfied its desires to move on to the next stage, from the stage of the ghost to the stage of the lunar ancestors. So they wait. If the crow eats from the rice and touches it, the soul's desires are fulfilled. This is a sanket, an indicator, and the shell breaks and the soul is relieved from its limited sphere of passional emotions. It goes to pure emotional mind. It expands into Pitralok, that is the lunar ancestors. This is all from India. It is also taken from us and mentioned in later the book of the Bardo Thodol, the book of the dead, but it's all originally knowledge from India. So, but if the crow does not touch, then you have to wait. Then you have to wait and pray for it to come. If it doesn't, then there are some fruits, there are some edibles which he liked. Through the most liked edible, we must ask him, what is your desire? Then one person who has the intuition, either one of the men will get the intuition and he'll give them what he likes. He eats that, then he touches it. If he does not touch it, then the people after some time go home to their homes after finishing the prayer of the Shraddha. Circumstances will be created such, till that time that soul will mark time in limbo of the Pishachalok, in the limbo, till he gets that desire fulfilled. And they say that the Pishacha can enter the bodies of people, can go through them. They can enter the body of a cow and eat the thing they like through the cow, enter the body of a man or a woman and fulfill their desires through them. Sometimes you see that desires are filled. Some innocent people come from foreign countries. So what they do is that they perform prayers to the goddess of some Pishachic person whose desires are not filled, who may be a relative. They put it into that person. That person is possessed and his voice becomes like that person, right? You understand what I am saying? And that Pishacha fulfills his desires through that person, and then when its desires are fulfilled, it leaves them and goes away. Or the Sadguru comes and then he just knocks it off. It has happened. People have had experience of this. Therefore, it is necessary. So, nothing to worry about. You are all safe in safe hands, no problem. So, now after the 10th day, there is still a lingering of the Pishachalok, the soul is still in the thing of spirits. Then on the 13th day, we all get together and the soul progresses. By 3 days after the 10th day, it would have more or less fulfilled its desires by either going into a person, fulfilling its desire, having circumstances which satisfies, and it moves on to the higher sphere of Pitralok. Now this Pitralok is the sphere of our ancestors. So from Bhurlok, it has moved on to Bhuvar, the Bhuvarlok. Bhur Bhavaha Swaha. So earth, astral and Deva, divine. So the terrestrial, astral and celestial. Divine is above that. So now it is in the astral. There it remains till it fulfills a lot of its karmas, till it undergoes its dues of reward and punishment. Even in that state, it does not sit idle. It's an evolutionary process. After prarabdha karma, some new sanchit karma has to be settled, some DNA has to be changed, some old karma has to be worked on, and it has to prepare to take on new karma, which it does on the descending arc, not on the ascending. It's ascending now towards Devlok. So it's just giving away, and it's getting rid of its negative karma. So he is now in the astral. The soul is in the astral sphere, the sphere of dreams, the sphere of dreams, the sphere of imagination. It's a very beautiful world. For practically most of the dark wars, most of the ugly stuff is finished. But still in the initial stages even of Pitralok, there are certain enmities, there are certain differences to be resolved. These differences are resolved. The bitterness and bad blood is made even. Everything is nullified, and gradually as it gets pure, it goes on to its good karma. After it finishes with its bad karma, it goes on to its good karma. And in the astral sphere, the Pitras, he joins the ancestors. So the soul that goes from here joins his ancestors. It's not like they believe, I don't know, in other religions they believe that after death and Qayamat there's nothing, you don't live. Indians don't do that. They had the intuition to perceive that the soul lives on in spite of its casting its physical body, then its passional body, then it casts its emotional body, and then it goes into its divine body in Devlok, in the heavenly spheres. So there's the earth, the intermediary state, and the heavenly sphere. This is the journey of the soul. We have now reached the journey to the astral state. In this state, when the bad karmas are over and everything is getting better, it gets the reward for its good karma. Gets the reward for its good karma. It starts getting its reward, and it starts meditating, it starts joining its other ancestors, and all the time, year after year on earth, the Indian people do this ceremony of Shraddha. Every time on the 10th day, the Shraddha is done. There's a particular day, which is called the Pitra Pandroda, the Pitra Paksha. So this Paksha or Pitra Paksha is 15 days dedicated to the ancestors, where all the people pray to your ancestors to get this. So this knowledge spread not only to Tibet and to China, but also to Japan. They also do ancestral worship. You ask them for the source of where they got it, they point to India. So we need to set things right and know where the source is. The ancient rishis discovered this in India. So as the soul evolves, the people below are praying for the evolution of its soul and for the peace of its ancestors. They perform this puja called the Shraddha ceremony. And if there are any people who have died by accident, if there are any people who have intense desires left, or who have enmity between one another, they go to sacred places like Kashi Vishwanath in Banaras, or they go to Trembakeshwar, where they do the Shraddha ceremony for their ancestors. If somebody has murdered someone, or there's been a death or premature death, they do a very special type of Shraddha called the Narayan Nag Bali. The Narayan Nag Bali is done just beyond Nasik. There's one of the 12 Jyotirlingas of Shiva, which is called Trembakeshwar. There the Narayan Nag Bali is done. This is a very important Shraddha, and it frees you from the Kal Sarpa Yoga, the evil effects of Rahu and Ketu in your horoscope, and the dragon of evil is destroyed, and for you and for your ancestors. This is not only the belief of the people of Sanatan Dharma in India, in Aryavarta, but this is a fact, and I have had first-hand experience. When I was doing the Shraddha of Narayan Nag Bali, my ancestors actually in physical form came down. There were 3 ladies and 1 man, and I recognized those 3 ladies, 2 of them as my aunts, and I could recognize them. This is this, this is this, this is this. And they started laughing. They said, "We have come to the yogi, he is bound to know us." I said, "Whatever form you take, I know who you are." So I said, "Thank you for coming. My prayers have been answered and your desires have been fulfilled. Now go in peace." But they were my aunts, but I had to bless them, because I was at Shiva's place, so the power of Shiva was within me. So when the Noor is within you, then nobody is the father and nobody is the mother. And that is the light given to you by Mahadev, Mahadev, Har Har Mahadev, the destroyer and redeemer of mankind. Sangharak Taran Har. Shiva not only destroys, Samhar karta hai aur Taran bhi karta hai. Sangharak Taran Har. He kills you and saves you at the same time. So what does he kill? Takes the snake slow and pulls it out. He kills the skin of the snake and pulls the fresh one out. So what is the work of Shiva in all this? These are very small states for Shiva to even look. He may not even know what's happening. It's just by his grace these things are happening. So when you do this Narayan Nagbali, not only you but your ancestors are free from all their past crimes and sins and negativities. Now, after the Shraddha is done, year by year the soul evolves, and ultimately from the state of Pitralok in the astral sphere, Om Bhuva Om Bhuva, it goes into Om Swaha, the third heaven, third stage, which is Swargalok Swaha. So from Pitralok he goes to Devlok. This is the life after death of the soul. The soul is living all the time. It is his life. So life after death of the physical body, life after death of the passional body, life after death of the emotional body, life after death of the mental body, and life after death of the intuitional body, which usually does not go but is carried on because it forms the very soul itself which incarnates. It goes into Devlok, Deva, Dev, the shining ones, the gods. You see? So when an Indian yogi tells you that if you do this mantra, this kavach, not even the gods can defeat you, or you can defeat the gods, it is these gods they are referring to. The semi-divine beings. Semi-divine beings. Do you understand? So when you go to Devlok, you have now only your pure karma to enjoy. The fruits of your good deeds, your good karma to enjoy, to take and avail of. And here the soul doth rest. And in this state, if you are graceful, the great yogis and rishis like Swami Sri Yukteswar Giri and Shirdi Sai Baba and Shams Tabrizi and all these great saints, they can come and they can visit you there and they can bless you but they have to come down because they're still in that you can go into states of Sabhikalpa Samadhi. But they are in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, so they descend. They don't condescend, they descend with compassion to love you and to serve you. And then you get into your state, then you enjoy a peaceful life. You're in the heavenly gardens of Jannat and you're roaming around and you have all the time in the world to meditate. Maybe there are temptations there, maybe they are not, because that is the heavenly sphere. Because Indra and his retinue and all the Apsaras and the Hurs and all the people are in the heavenly sphere. So when the soul gets there, it works out whatever it has to work out, its karma, it enjoys the benefits of its good karma, it reaps the fruits of its good karma and meets all the people there. Now, after it meets the people there and its karmas, it is always in that perpetual state around it. There's a certain soft energy which protects it. You see, people over here, they don't know. They complained of a soft energy protecting them, the energy of Guru Nath. You all must be seeing it around you. Over here, if you think of me or if you're there near the Sadguru, a gentle energy will come and be like a protection. You can all feel that. But sometimes it comes boom, because that's me. I'm not, gentle is not my nature, you see. I come boom. Now we are continuing the topic of life after death. As I have told you again, this is taken from the Shraddha ceremony of the ancient Brahmins and seers and sages. The life after death is also in a peculiar way described in the book of India called Garud Puran. I am detailing it to you as I have perceived and experienced and of what I know. Now we have come so far, the life after death, when the soul dies and leaves the physical body, it goes to a more expanded state of Pretlok, which is the land of the dead, the ghouls and the spirits, the graveyards. It stays there for 3 days. After that, it gets refined and passes into the next sphere, which is the Pishachalok, which is the lower passional and the lower astral sphere of Pishachalok, the passional sphere. After that, the shell of the passional body of the soul is broken and it goes into the emotional sphere and the mental sphere of the body, which is called Pitralok. So from Pretlok it goes to Pishachalok, from Pishachalok it goes to Pitralok in the astral sphere. After it finishes with the astral sphere, Bhur is the lowest, the earth Mrityulok, then Bhuvar is the intermediate state, the passional sphere, the astral sphere where the soul goes in Pitralok, and Swaha is Swargalok or Devlok. So the Pitra now enters the Devlok, the third heaven, Bhur Bhava Swaha, where it enjoys and reaps the benefits of its good karma which it performed on earth. And it also gets the benefits and rewards of its good deeds. This is a sphere, as I have repeated, as I have said before, and I repeat again, where you meet all your Pitras, your lunar ancestors, the saints and sages who are in your family. And also if you are blessed with good karma as you reside in Devlok, the heavenly sphere, saints and sages like Lord Krishna, the Christ, Shirdi Sai Baba, Shams Tabrizi, and all other great saints will come and visit you and bless you. It is an ideal place. But many people do not continue their meditation in this sphere. They tend to enjoy and reap the fruits of their good karma in Devlok. So therefore they are bathing in luxurious champagne fountains, and they are going by the beautiful hillside and seeing the multicolored lights and sunsets, the beautiful birds flying with astral colors and wings, and fainting hues of perfume so sweet that you will faint. So heaven is a very beautiful place. So of course, in one of my poems, I have described one of the higher heavenly spheres and some of the heavenly spheres, and the yogi says, Ham paradesi bades bhaye, jahan janam maran na hot, barmas amiras pan piye, ham jaga ham na hot, tare bhai hota ham ki maut. So the yogi says, I am a stranger to this land, to the earth. I belong to that land where there is no life nor death. So this is not the Swarglok, I am sorry, it is not Devlok, it is a much higher plane, maybe Tapa, Satya or some lok like that. And he says, where there is no janama, no life and death. And Ham paradesi bades bhaye, jahan janam maran na hot, no life or death. Bar mas amiras pan piye, ham jaga ham na hot. So he says, all the 12 seasons of the month, I am drunk. I am drunk with the wine of the Lord, with the eternal Abhe Hayat. Okay? And there he says, in this land there is no ego. The ego is death, only the divine remains. So it's definitely Satyalok. It's not. It's a higher state, but at a lower state where there is ego and there is still mortality, there you still have to reincarnate. In that state there is no reincarnation. That reincarnation is by choice of the liberated soul. This reincarnation is through compulsion. We get back to the Swargalok. After Swargalok, then the soul gets ready because it has finished its bad and good karma, and it has finished its justice which is to be meted out in the life after death. It has reached the pinnacle of the ascending arc, the small ascending arc. Now from that point it gets its new prarabdha karma, a new set of prarabdha karmas for the new life, and also added to it is the unfulfilled desires of its past life, which should have gone but which are still there in the collective subconscious of many other past lives. So that is given to it to work out. So this new set of prarabdha karmas the soul will come with. Now what happens when the soul enters into Swargalok? It gets its first prarabdha karma, which is very subtle. The soul has become clear light now. Then it is again coated for reincarnation with a subtle desire. The first karma, that desire which comes in his thing as Atmakarak, the planet which determines why he is born, that is his seeking for God. Anything which is to do with devotional music, with meditation, with search for God, because he is not liberated, he is not gone up. You see, there are Om Bhuvam Bhuvam Swaha. So the cycle is Om Bhuvam Bhuvam Swaha, Om Bhuvam Bhuvam Swaha, Om Bhuvam. It's a mini. But then the bigger cycle where you are liberated is Om Bhuvam Bhuvam Swaha, Om Maham Janom Tapam Satyam. Om Bhuvam Bhuvam Swaha, Om Maham Janom Tapa. So he is only in the small cycle of liberation. So then he gets his desire again to meditate. The soul is again coated with a subtle desire and pure desires to sing the praises of God, to meditate, to sit quietly during the sunrise and be absorbed in the sun. These pure thoughts, pure words and pure deeds, that karma is layered on to the soul. The balsam of pure karma is put around the soul for its next incarnation. So now he is descending and he is now incarnating with this subtle layer of karma. And from Devlok, he begins to be absorbed in that which is given to him, be absorbed in that meditation, in that setting, in that preferring the silence and the purity. And as the soul lives in that place, again determined by the intensity of that karma which is laid on, he tarries on in heaven, because that is a part of his good karma to be actively experienced. But at this state, he just is that feeling of calmness. Then the soul again begins to descend from Swargalok. It makes an entry. By the time, it's a very interesting phenomenon to notice. Some parents somewhere in the world, two couples, are meditating and praying for a good soul. They are meditating because at a young parents, it is the nature of a woman to meditate for a child. They are made like that. And this age from 20 to 40 or 20 to 38, where they want a child. Every woman has been through that stage, and they want somebody like Krishna or Christ or Shams. Nobody wants a Rasputin, is it? Nobody wants a devil. Oh, shaitan, 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 shaitan. Nobody is doing that japa, okay? No woman wants a rascal, rascal, rascal. Nobody wants a rascal, okay? But sometimes when a rascal is born, he turns out to be a very good guy. They say when a child is a rascal when he's small, he grows up to be a very mighty guy. Yeah, all these fellows, the great warriors and world shakers and famous men were very naughty when they were young. You see all these examples like Napoleon or Sir Robert Clive or Genghis Khan or Chhatrapati Shivaji or Maharana Pratap. When they were young, they were doing very risky things and disobeying. In their bravery also they were doing a rascality because they were not obedient, because their fire was burning with courage and their courage knew no limits. So in that stage, this child is being born and taking that particular karma. Those particular parents, who we know not what, according to the solar or karmic jigsaw, some child will fit the womb of some mother, right? So they are preparing, very few of them. This soul depending on whether it's a high soul in the next life or medium soul or low soul, will go to that particular parents who are high, medium or low. That is the law of karma. So after that, this soul in Swargalok, he enters. So in this Bardo Thodol state, into the next lower, he comes down into a lower sphere, ready to incarnate. As he is coming to the lower sphere, he is still finishing with his good karma. He is doing he is still enjoying his good karma, his astral karma. The bad karma have more or less gone on the first ascending arc, now descending with his good karma at both the Bhurbhava Swaha, at the heavenly sphere, astral sphere and terrestrial, celestial, astral and terrestrial sphere. So when he comes to the astral sphere, like his spiritual or heavenly body made of Swargalok particles was built, his astral body begins to be built. After his mental body is built, then his astral body begins to take shape. After he has finished his karma in the Devastan. Karma is still operating in these three spheres, Bhurbhava Swaha. After Swa, you get a different type set of karma. Mahajana Tapa Satya. When he comes to the astral sphere, it is very interesting to note that his body takes on the next layer of the matter of the astral sphere. From the celestial he comes to the astral. And in the astral sphere, like he finished with his bad karma, he is now reaping his good astral karma, meeting pleasant people, seeing to his success, the frame of his mind, how his lifestyle is, what his mindset will be. All this is formed in the return downward arc of the soul. Now the soul is coming downwards. Why? It is coming down to earth on the terrestrial sphere, from the astral to the terrestrial. It's coming down from the celestial sphere to the astral sphere, from the astral to the terrestrial sphere, and then entering the womb of a mother, which will afford it the best facilities for its growth and to work out its next set of prarabdha karma, the karma which is given to it for this next life. And so the soul descends in the astral sphere, it works out its good in the astral sphere, all the karma that is there, and it gets its business contacts, it gets its good contacts, it gets good health, good diet, good eating habits. All these things are studied and learnt in the astral sphere. Then from the astral sphere, after having done that, it enters the subtle etheric level of the physical, the terrestrial region. Now the terrestrial region, it has come very close to being reincarnated again. And that in its subtle lower astral body or subtle physical body, which is called the ethereal body, it is in search for the proper type of womb of that mother and that type of a parent. So that means the soul, the spirit of that soul will animate the sperm of the father to be. It will start animating it at the etheric level in the physical sphere, the sperm of the father to be, and the ova, the egg of the mother to be. The spirit will breeze through it. It will breeze through the sperm and ova. Then when they unite, the sperm of the father and the ova, the egg of the mother, the zygote is formed. Zygote is the first conception. So the soul comes back. After life, it is reincarnated again. This is the afterlife journey of the soul through all the spheres. Bhurbhava Swaha, Swaha Bhurbhava. Swaha Bhurbhuva Swaha, Swaha Bhuva Bhur. It comes back to earth, and that zygote is formed in the womb of the mother. This is the life after death of the soul, which I have told you. This is an education which people are not given today in these times, which they must be given because it is not explicitly explained in all the books. This is very, very important that this be transcribed and printed out and given to each mother to know what should be done. Now I am coming to the most important part of this, the third part. What should be done? So when the mother has the zygote, that time she should meditate and pray. If she is a meditating mother, the soul is already meditative, augmented. But some mothers may not be meditative, they may be musical, but that soul is seen from before, and electromagnetically it is a musician itself, attracted itself to the womb of a musical mother or music loving parents, so that get the facilities for its growth. Another may be an engineer. So those souls usually come like that, you see, unless for karmic reasons a soul comes to take revenge upon its parents. You see a son tormenting his parents. There are many permutation combinations to this. I am just giving you the ideal permutation combination, right? So it comes, and then the first trimester, natal, prenatal. There is also a technique of bringing the soul into birth. Parents of a soul who want a divine soul, they meditate 9 months before the soul is born. So the parents, the first trimester, 9, 8, 7th month, they form and prepare pure matter in their mind, in the mental sphere, in the Devlok, for the soul to come, saying, come. Then in the second trimester, 6, 5, 4, there is the astral, the emotions, the music, from the mental, the Devlok, to the astral lok, the music, the devotion, they chant. Then when there are 3 months left on the terrestrial sphere, they take the proper diet, they do the proper exercise. Nothing has been done now. They have not been together, they have not conceived. They are just parents. This is called prenatal parenting. Before the child is born, they are parenting the soul. So prenatal parenting is done before the soul is born. After this, when the 1 month is left, then on the particular day, again, where the soul enters from that side, conceives, from this side the house is ready. This side, the man and woman get together, sperm and ova unite to form the zygote. That soul which is ready for this type of house and zygote enters, and conception is formed, and the cycle of birth and rebirth is completed. So this is the whole mystery of life and death. The soul never dies, and you should prepare for this child. Then when the child is in, then also first trimester, second trimester, third trimester, she meditates on the grosser physical form and the diet, the food. Then she goes to emotional and devotional, and then she goes to meditation in the 7th, 8th and 9th month, like this. So then the child, and then there is postnatal parenting. So the child is never leaving the mother. Prenatal, natal, postnatal parenting. Then you get the divine child. This is how it is done, and all young people should know of this. This is a great education which is lacking not only over here so much, but all over the world. It's an education. So it is the art and the sacred performing art of producing spiritual children, of invoking them in the womb of the mother, in the isness of the father. Now we get to the third point. What is the situation of a yogi in all this? Terrestrial sphere, the afterlife of the soul, life after death of the soul. Now when the yogi sits to meditation, he is already a complete being. He is not in the cycle of birth and death. Bhurbha swaha, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. He is not in that cycle of birth and death. So the answer to the yogi for the book of the dead, for the Bardo Thal, and to the Tibetan, the yogi tells him that the yogi catches the Bardo Thal, the life and death, by the forelock and throws it out of the window. The yogi in this very life, he works out all his karma, his life and his death. His life after death is worked out in his meditation in this life, and that's what you all are doing. That your life after death also is being worked out, because you are going at such a rapid speed that not only your prarabdha karma will finish, other karmas of other life have to be given to you, because you are burning it up like an inferno. You are incinerating all the evil and all the karma. You live for God alone. You live for God, you die for God. You see God Hear God, breathe God, taste God, touch God, live God, die God, God God, God God, God God, God God, God God. That's the yogi par excellence. And so, when the yogi is meditating, death will come to him, but before that he has worked out his karma. He doesn't have to go to the Pishachalok or the Pretlok or the Pitralok, because he is beyond the Pitralok and beyond Devlok also. The Devas come to him, and very great yogis are told, can you help us out with this, because we are stuck there in the Devlok. Who knows? Perhaps I don't know whether I should say this. It's about Vishwamitra and Menka and Indra. So even Indra could not defeat the purpose of Vishwamitra to reach the final goal and make a heaven on his own and surpass Indra. It was Indra who was stuck with Menka, not Vishwamitra. He carried on. Although she was an Apsara and a goddess, she had the power and the spark of Parvati. And from her was born Shakuntala, the daughter who gave birth to Bharat, after who the land of India is named. So Vishwamitra is the great grandsire of the land of Aryavarta, the great grandsire of the Aryan root race, of which we all belong to. And the new civilization or new root race, we say civilization, is the Savarni root race, which is to be formed 500 years hence. So when the yogi meditates, he does not go through this all the spheres of Bhur Bhuva Swaha. He does not go through Pishachalok. He does not go through Pretlok, Pishachalok, Pitralok and Devlok. He directly transcends these states. He works out all the life after death and all his karmas. I am not talking about a perfected yogi. I am talking about practicing yogis like you. They work it out in life, in their very consciousness, in not life after death, life before death. He works out his Bardo experience, his Devachan experience, his astral and lunar ancestors' experience of that sphere in this very life. He catches the Bardo, the Devachan, he catches the life after death and throws it out of the window. Because he is living always and he cannot die. When he leaves his body, he is still conscious. There is a conscious exit out from his body. This is a very important factor to know, because the speed of the yogi's evolution, the speed of his evolution is done by his consciousness moving through the spine. He has awakened his Kundalini, and therefore his stars stand aside and say, "O yogi, fearless bold, your light between the eyebrows hold." He says that you can, this is called taking the kingdom of heaven by storm. This is a very important thing, that when yogis do not go through this process of life after death, they are already immortalized in this life. That's why Kriya Yoga is called the lightning path.